Hi, everybody. Joe Cioffi here, Weather in 5 days in 5 minutes. Coming up tonight on the Joe and Joe Weather Show podcast. It's about severe weather, and severe weather. It's going on in a lot of places, so we'll be talking about that. We'll start looking at the weekend and maybe even peek at the 4th of July holiday. It's tonight on the Joe and Joe Weather Show podcast at 7:35 p.m. Eastern Time. It is a summer day. Uh, Surprise, surprise. We have heat advisories up from Texas to the Florida Panhandle, parts of southern Georgia, also coastal Georgia, northeast Florida, up into south and portions of North Carolina. Also, some heat advisories up for central New Jersey as we're seeing our temperatures climb. These are the high temperatures so far today as of 1 p.m. Eastern Time, and we're already in the upper 80s and low 90s just about everywhere. And there's ample daytime heating going on this afternoon. We don't have thunderstorm activity approaching until probably after dark because of the timing of this cold front. So that's going to allow about pretty much maximum daytime heating going into this evening. And I think we'll probably top out in the low to mid 90s just about everywhere in eastern Pennsylvania to southern New England. And taking a look at temperatures further north, not quite as hot. It's in the upper 70s and low 80s across much of upstate New York and low and middle 80s in New England, even a few upper 80s popping up in a couple places in New Hampshire and in Maine. And here's the satellite loop as we take a look at what's going on nearby. We still have a ways to go. The upper trough and cold front are still well to the west. We're seeing some lightning strikes across northern Ohio and southeastern Michigan. On the southern tail of this, we're seeing some heavy thunderstorms moving southward through Arkansas and Oklahoma, and they're going to continue their track to the south, but it's nice and sunny pretty much up and down the eastern seaboard. And you can see on the radar, there's we don't really see anything. And unless a renegade thunderstorm pops up late this afternoon and this evening, the bulk of it is going to come afterwards. Probably again after say 8 or 9 o'clock from eastern Pennsylvania, maybe around 8 o'clock or so, and reaching into southern New England by around 9:30, 10. It's a little hard to time, but these storms are showing up to the west, and also you can see the storms that are rolling through Arkansas and Oklahoma. And we've got some scattered showers and some heavier downpours in parts of the Pacific Northwest. There's the Storm Prediction Center's areas of slight risk from Ohio and Kentucky eastward through northern much of Virginia, all of Maryland, Delaware, New Jersey, Long Island, southern New England, and even parts of southeastern New England under a slight risk. The marginal risk goes a little bit further north than that and a little bit further south to just about the Virginia North Carolina state line. Another area of slight risk, southeast Oklahoma to Arkansas, western Mississippi and northern Louisiana, northeast Texas, and then a third area in the western plains from northwest Texas and northeast New Mexico northward into southwest Nebraska and southeast Wyoming. Now, for tomorrow, everything starts to shift to the plains. There's some leftover marginal risk in North and South Carolina, mainly in the coast and going inland by about 100 or so miles. We have a slight risk up the western plains from Kansas into eastern Montana and the western Dakotas, and that's going to come with a 2% tornado risk. For day three, we're looking at a marginal to slight risk. Minnesota, Wisconsin, the eastern Dakotas, the slight risk in southern Iowa, northern Missouri, and small portions of Kansas and Nebraska and into western Illinois. We should mention that this area of thunderstorms moving through here for tonight, the biggest risk I think is going to be from straight line winds in thunderstorms that might gust to 50 miles an hour or more in some of the stronger cells. As far as rainfall for the next 7 days, we've got another weather front coming over the weekend. If you put the two together, we're looking at inch and a half plus amounts from northern New Jersey into southern and central parts of central New England and the Hudson Valley. Generally, 3/4 of an inch to an inch and a quarter from Maine down through Virginia, and then continuing in parts of eastern North and South Carolina, southern Georgia into Florida, picks up again in coastal and southern Florida, also in southern Alabama with inch and a half amounts plus. More rain for Iowa, western Illinois, and northern Missouri, and also more rain for Minnesota, with the heaviest rains in the northern part of the state, an inch and a half or more, and some heavy rains falling across southern Canada over the next 7 days. So we're going to look at the NAM 3 kilometer model, and this is at 5 o'clock this afternoon. So you see a few scattered cells here in parts of eastern Connecticut and southeastern Rhode Island and Massachusetts. Not a whole lot of anything going on Long Island, Hudson Valley, New Jersey, and eastern Pennsylvania. The main line is still coming in to western Pennsylvania. And then this is at 8 o'clock. We start to see a little bit more in the way of activity, at least the way the NAM sees it, from northeast eastern New Jersey into southwestern Connecticut. And then you got the main area that comes through. Looks like it arrives. This is 11 o'clock, midnight, 1 a.m., 2 a.m., 3 a.m., 4, 5, 6, 7. This is 8 a.m. on Thursday morning. Now, each model has its own way of interpreting things. We can look at the HRRR, and you'll notice on the HRRR, I'll have to, I'll go to the prior run, which is completed. The first batch goes to the north, but you still see some stray cells that form over New York City and Long Island. And this is at around 8 or 9 p.m. Then another area comes through around midnight, and then that continues to move on to the east. This is at 5 a.m., what you're seeing here, with some back edge rain over Long Island and some stronger storms off the coast of Cape Cod, southwestward in the open waters of the Atlantic, also seeing them extend down into Virginia. The bottom line is we're just going to have to see how everything looks on the radar going into this evening to determine who gets what. It's conceivable that some folks may not see much of anything out of this, but the risk area is always drawn in a general way. And given the nature of thunderstorms, sometimes you get them, sometimes you don't. And if you look at the GFS is actually even more bullish than the short-term models, with a fairly aggressive patch of thunderstorms in eastern Pennsylvania by 8 o'clock. They move through New England, move down through the mid-Atlantic states. They're mostly gone by a little after daybreak on Thursday. Thursday should see an improving weather day with temperatures in the 80s, humidity levels starting to go down. We've got a nice day coming up on Friday. And I think the weekend is going to start off dry on Saturday, but we've got another weather front coming with some showers and storms probably late in the day Saturday into Saturday night. And we're likely to see some lingering showers and maybe some thunderstorms around on Sunday, although it's not the kind of thing where it rains all day. But this front's going to stall for a little bit and wait for a push from the next high that comes in next week with another shot of cooler, drier air for the first part of next week. And then it looks like we'll get another weak front probably next Wednesday night. And if that plays out, the 4th of July may turn out to be an okay day with seasonal temperatures and reasonable humidities. That's an early guess on my part. Joe and Joe Weather Show tonight at 7:35 Eastern Time. We'll be covering all of the severe weather as it gets underway. So be sure to tune in. Myself and Joe Rayo. Joe Rayo likes to do the radar parade. So tune in at 7:35 p.m. Eastern Time.